I have given birth twice, once in the hospital and once in a birth center. Let's talk about the differences. There were 3 major differences between my 2 births that really stood out to me: knowledge, trust, and comfort. Let's start with the first one, knowledge. What do I mean by that? I mean, was I given the tools and information that I needed to feel like I was prepared for my labor and delivery? Let's compare the 2. First, my hospital birth. In the hospital, I really wasn't sure what to expect, partly because I really didn't feel like my OB prepared me well enough, and also I was a first-time mom. I'd never done this before. I expected my OB to give me the information that I needed to give birth, but he really didn't offer me a whole lot of information. At every appointment, he would ask me questions like, "Do you have any questions for me, and how are you feeling?" But that was about it. I found it hard to ask questions if I didn't know what I didn't know. I did do some research on my own, which led me to create a birth plan that I wanted to bring to the hospital with me. I brought it to one of my appointments, and my doctor laughed at my birth plan. I left that appointment crying because I felt like he wasn't listening to me and he thought I was just some big joke. He actually told me it's gonna go how it's gonna go, and that's that. What? The day we went to the hospital to give birth, we still brought our birth plan, and the nurses did accept it and went over it with us. So that made me feel like maybe they were going to honor it, and they did put it in the computer. But throughout my entire laboring process, we were left largely alone. I didn't know what the hell I was doing. My husband didn't know what he was doing. Both of us were first-time parents. We'd never done this before, and we really didn't have any coaching whatsoever. My doctor didn't even come into the delivery room until the baby was practically crowning, and then he just booked it after he was done stitching me up. Let's compare that to my experience at the birth center. My midwife made sure that my husband and I had the knowledge we needed to go into this birth with confidence. She took the time that was needed to not only answer my questions, but to offer us information for things that we didn't even think to ask about. Every appointment with her was a guaranteed 1-hour-long conversation, not just between her and me, but with my husband too. She would ask him questions and offer information for him. She was really all-inclusive. It felt like we were a birthing team. Even though we were going into this experience as second-time seasoned parents, we learned so much from her. She gave me the confidence that I needed to go out and do research on my own. Even after giving birth, I still kept researching. That's why I started my own blog, and that's why I'm making this video here today. The second major difference between the 2 is trust. Did I trust the team around me to give me the confidence I need to give birth? Did I feel empowered, or did I feel vulnerable? In the hospital, I was surrounded by nurses who were all really nice, and they do this for a living, but they were complete strangers to me, and I was supposed to just trust them to do things to me. I think I had one main nurse, but other nurses were in and out the whole time, so it was really disorienting. I had spent the months of pregnancy getting to know my doctor, so I had that little bit of trust with him, but like I said before, he was in and out of the room. Giving birth at the birth center, I got to labor at home with just my husband. By the time we got to the birth center, it was just me, my husband, and our midwife. She took the months of my pregnancy to get to know us, not only giving us the knowledge we needed to feel prepared for this birth, but getting to know both me and my husband as people. There was a level of trust with Renee, my midwife, that my doctor definitely didn't have. I bet you if I were to go back and ask my doctor today what my baby's name is, or even what my name was, he'd have to go back and look at charts because he didn't take the time to get to know us. Whereas my midwife, I could call her to this day, and my baby is over a year old. She would know my name, she knows where I work, she knows my husband's name, and she would remember my baby's name and probably how much he weighed. The last difference is comfort. Simply, was I comfortable in the room that I was giving birth in? In the hospital, I was stark naked under a paper-thin hospital sheet, surrounded by a bunch of strangers with a doctor that I only kind of sort of trusted. The freaking bright lights in the hospital room, that room was so bright and so sterile. There was not an ounce of comfortable in that room. In the hospital, our family came to visit us because they wanted to meet their first grandbaby, but I was still naked under that stupid hospital gown. In the birth center, I gave birth in a beautiful room that is nicer than my own bedroom at home. The bed was comfortable, the room was dimly lit, there were essential oils in the room so it smelled nice. After I gave birth in the tub, I got to climb back into the bed and even put my clothes back on and just comfortably lay there. With the birth center, I got to go home afterwards, take a shower, get dressed, and prepare myself physically and mentally for visitors. If you couldn't tell by now, I absolutely preferred my delivery at the birth center compared to the hospital. The biggest red flag for me though was in the hospital, I felt like I was going in to have a medical procedure done to me, whereas in the birth center, I was a woman giving birth. For that reason alone, I will never give birth in a hospital again if I can avoid it. If you want to read more details about these two different birth experiences, I wrote an entire blog series about it and it's linked in the description below. If you liked this video, give me a thumbs up, subscribe, and don't forget to hit that little bell to be notified when my next video comes out.